Why don't you stop condescending to the entire human race and pretending that every scientist ever is a liar and satanic deceiver? That's much more offensive than me calling you stupid.
Good day, gentle people, it's your favorite Mr. 42. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're gonna have a look at Professor Dave destroying DITRH and some other clips. So, let's go.
Hey, David, how's it going?
Hey, what's going on? Thanks for having me. This
Thank you for coming back.
Gonna be interesting for sure.
It's going to be very interesting, isn't it? And Professor Dave,
Howdy.
Thank you for coming on for the first time.
Thanks for having me.
The expression on Professor Dave's face when he first appears on screen is priceless. This is the face of an exasperated man who can't believe he has to be here to do what he has to do. But it has to be done, and so here he is reluctant, but more than capable of doing it well with minimal effort.
Congratulations on your YouTube success, man. 2 million subs, that's phenomenal.
Thank you.
Professor Dave is like a cat. He doesn't give a fuck and is sick of your shit.
Yeah.
This is the first time I think a real flat earther, I'll call myself a real flat earther, has spoken direct with Professor Dave, as he normally does videos, you know, that just go out and pretty much straw man us, whether you know it or not, or gaslight us, and then there's really no way to respond because...
No, so you've never seen my channel ever and have no idea what I do because I make academic tutorials.
I have, but your flat earth stuff is is gaslighting us, essentially.
It's devastating and destroys flat earth easily.
Absolutely. So
big straw man. Oh, he says that they think the earth is flat. What a straw man.
The tone has been set. DITRH is playing the victim and Professor Dave destroys his lies. Now that that is clear, let's see the highlights. I mean, I'm not gonna mirror this 2-hour debate.
Spectroscopy is you can measure gases, but it has to be in a container. Where's the container?
No. Stop. We are looking at light. We're looking at light, and we are understanding about the materials, right? We're understanding the composition of things based on light. So when you start talking about gases, you show me immediately that you don't even know what spectroscopy is. So you do not know the ways in which we figure out things about celestial objects. You literally don't even know the definitions of the words that represent the techniques that we use. So why are you even talking about it?
Spectroscopy needs to be in a container. Otherwise, you don't know what
Spectroscopy needs to be in a container. The study of how light interacts with matter needs to be in a container. What does that mean?
During a total solar eclipse in your world, the Earth is a full Earth from the moon's point of view. It's bigger and shinier, and it should light up the moon, but it doesn't, and no telescope, no from any position with infrared or anything has ever seen the moon.
Can you think of why? Can you think of why? Can you think of a much brighter object that is right there where the moon is?
Well, during
the corona of the sun, which is thousands of times brighter. What you're doing right now is you're basically saying, I'm going to shine a spotlight directly into your eyes, and then you tell me if you can see a firefly 2 centimeters to the right.
How does that work? How come this doesn't collapse in on itself? This is just a...
It does. That's how stars are born.
Dave, in your world, this is gases are collapsing upon themselves and then igniting themselves in a vacuum, in a vacuum, and then they
no, stop. Look, I know that you want to just spew your script without anybody challenging, but you say so many stupid things, and I'm here to tell you why everything you're saying is stupid. So when you say stars igniting in a vacuum, the reason that's confusing for you is that you think stars are little bonfires because you're a moron. Because you don't understand nuclear fusion. Nuclear fusion is the process by which stars glow. They're not little fireballs.
This is an excellent point for a short intermission. Here is Right the Hand. He is also very confused about the difference between a nuclear reaction and a chemical reaction. His video is titled Proof TNT are atomic bombs. This has got to be good.
What the fuck is TNT made out of? Right, in their model, right? This is everybody's model. So here's TNT. Now here are your atoms in TNT. Okay, so TNT, when you blow up TNT, what's blowing up TNT? What's the TNT made out of? So what is blowing up? The atoms in the TNT blow up, so that would be what kind of bomb? An atomic bomb?
You went full retard, man. Never go for retard.
So this is a TNT atom.
A TNT atom? Really? It is made of atoms, like everything else. But that doesn't make it an atom. It's a compound.
So when you blow up TNT, what are you blowing up? Atoms, right?
No, you're blowing up a compound. You'll find all the atoms back in the end results.
So what blows up when you blow up TNT? Atoms. So what is TNT? It's an atomic bomb.
You're making quite a fool of yourself. Can you do any better?
Going to Galen Windsor and how he fucking, he was touching uranium and fucking all this shit every fucking day. And then Marie Curie did it too, but she died, right? But he didn't. Like, she suffered all this fucking shit from fucking handling radioaction.
Excuse me, the fuck did you just say?
Radioaction. Marie Curie, yeah. She, first Nobel woman to win the prize. I don't know, fake history. A bunch of fake history in that. They're just scaring you. This is all they're doing. It's just fucking, right? It's all the same shit, bro. It's all the same shit. So, if you believe in nuclear energy and atomic bombs, then TNT is an atomic bomb. You have to believe that.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Morons.
I have nothing to say about this. Let's just continue with Professor Dave.
They get something and it's a tiny bit of gravity, pulls in some more dust. It pulls in, not dust, it pulls in gases. And somehow it's pulling all of these gases together and turning into a nuclear furnace that burns for billions of years. I'm sorry, that doesn't make any sense. And if you want to believe that, that's the world.
So centuries of brilliant astronomers versus nuh-uh. Is that really all you have? Is the entire field of astronomy and you going, I don't like it. That's dumb. I'm dumb and I don't get it. So astronomy is wrong. That's literally your argument against astronomy right now.
Eratosthenes figured out the shadow. Eratosthenes.
When Newton developed Newton's law of universal gravitation, he didn't know why massive objects attract one another, right? He just said, this is what happens, and I have this equation, and we use Newton's equations to do all these incredible calculations that predict the motion of objects on Earth and in space. He didn't know what gravity was. Einstein gave a better explanation. The curvature of space-time are warped around massive objects. We're probably going to get a better model later. Just that we don't know why things happen doesn't mean we can't do science at predictive power. So as it turns out, Eratosthenes and Ptolemy, the Ptolemaic model, was wrong. Heliocentric model is correct. It doesn't matter that they didn't know that part or that they didn't know why something happens. Do you not understand how science works?
With a local sun in like the flat Earth is, we have no shadow here and we have a shadow here, and then you could do your math and figure out what the sphericity of this flat plane is, right?
Okay. So for that to work, how close is the sun?
How close is the sun?
How close is the sun?
Yeah,
really close, like right above the clouds, which we'd be able to see if you went up in a plane or a balloon, and it'd be like right there. Huh?
Dave, there's tons of videos explaining how the sun is an apparent object and we all see it in a different position.
Oh, there's videos that say dumb things.
That show science, show experiments. And when you try to triangulate the sun, there's a problem. You can't do it. You can't triangulate the sun. The sun's gravity ignores all of the moons because the moons are attracted to their planets and it negates the sun. That's what you believe.
What do you mean negates the sun?
Yeah, negates
so
the sun.
Moons. So what you're saying is that like one of Jupiter's moons should go flying towards the sun? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying that at all. I'm asking you if you believe that the sun's gravity has no effect on moons.
You could calculate a number that is the gravitational attraction between the sun and whatever moon you're talking about. And then you could do the same thing for the moon and its parent planet that it is orbiting. Which number do you think is going to be bigger, buddy? Which one do you think is going to be bigger? I just explained to you why what you said about the sun and the moon is stupid.
You say that the gravity of the planet is holding on to these moons, and
Yeah.
it's so much stronger. Let me
Yeah.
finish. I'm reiterating what you say to show you how stupid it is. It's holding on to the planets, but the sun's gravity, it can hold on to the planets, hold on to distant planets, but can't affect those moons at all.
Can't affect, like I just said, you can do a calculation. Did you want to do the calculation? Do you want to do it
Okay,
together? Do you want to
so-
learn something today? It's
so
called
David,
Newton's law of universal gravitation. Do you know what is in the denominator? R squared. It drops off, gravity drops off by the square of the distance. So as things get very, very far away, their gravitational influence is dramatically less, exponentially so. So when you have a moon that is right near a planet, the
Go to-
gravitational effect is way more than the faraway sun. Isn't that neat? Isn't that a neat thing that we can do with math and numbers that are real things that scientists do instead of just going, it doesn't make sense, so that's dumb.
we have our flat Earth. North is to the center. South is every direction away from the center. So if the stars are going this way from my right shoulder to left shoulder, I'm looking at the North Star. They're going one way. When I turn around and I look at the south away from the center, they're coming from my left shoulder to my right shoulder. They just change directions. Okay, there's no argument there. There's nothing to argue. That we're
Okay, now do clockwise and counterclockwise,
Well, it
because
doesn't
that's really
matter.
what we're talking about. What do you mean it
Again-
doesn't matter?
Again,
You're
David,
talking about a direction. I'm talking about clockwise versus counterclockwise
And-
when you're looking at the
and Dave,
poles.
the optics
the
of the sky.
poles.
If you understand what the flat Earth model is, if somebody's in Santiago,
You don't have a
and-
model. Your entire existence is being a dick to
Hey.
all of science. Why don't you go 4 time zones apart? They should still be looking in completely different directions. 12 midnight, 4 a.m., night sky, both looking south, both can see the Southern Cross. On your pizza world should be looking in completely different directions. Explain that.
The only time that can happen is in Johannesburg and Santiago. And if you add magnetic declination in there, they're both looking in the same direction.
Magnetic declination.
Yeah.
So
So-
you think just saying the word magnet is going to be an argument here that's going to work for you?
Look up the magnetic declinations of those areas. You don't know what direction you're facing, right? There's certain areas of Antarctica that the magnetic declination is 170 degrees. So when your compass says north is that way, it's 170 degrees the other way. It's
Look, you
all-
can dress it up however you want. We're talking about looking this way and looking that way, and they see the same thing. And you're fixating on Santiago and Johannesburg because you think that they're far enough apart that they're not going to both be nighttime. I'm telling you, you can go any distance apart. Just go from Perth to Sydney. Right? That's far enough apart that if you're both looking directly south, you're looking in different directions and you can see the same thing. You cannot explain that. That's
don't-
why you're
you
trying
have-
to throw out jargon to confuse people.
They say the ball is 24,901 miles around, but we can see things that are way, way, way farther. And with infrared, now we're seeing things 500 to 1,000 miles away. The amount of
No, you're
curvature.
not.
I know, yeah, we
You're
are.
not.
Go look at Jay Tolan Media's channel.
Oh,
It's
go
amazing.
look at some
And-
lies that a flat earther said. That is real evidence.
No. You think that we're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour and we don't feel it, and we're changing, we're changing directions? How is that possible? How about when
Yeah.
the Earth it comes around comes around towards the sun in the winter, in our northern winter, it's speeding up and taking its sharpest turn
The Earth goes around the sun in how long? How long does it take?
a year.
A year, right? So why don't you go ahead and get in a car and do a 360 turn and make it take a year? Are you going to feel that?
Dave, that's not a
Let's
fair-
break it down. 360 degrees, 365 days. That's about a degree a year, right? Why don't you get in a car and drive for 24 hours and over 24 hours veer by 1 degree? Are you going to feel that?
Imagine you're in an airplane where you remove the outer shell of the airplane, you double the speed of the airplane, and you nosedive 2 miles a minute. Okay.
Oh.
And that just to follow the curve of the Earth. That's the speed that the Earth is curving. And when something's moving and it's curving, that's acceleration. Okay. So
Oh, big
just
words.
This acceleration's a big word.
Well,
back to school,
when
Dave.
it is for you because you're not using it properly.
So-
Acceleration is rate of change in velocity.
If you take a point in space and you go for an hour, you're falling at the same rate as a skydiver free falling. Okay, that's ridiculous.
This one I think I figured out, and I think this one is genuine confusion on your part. So I don't want to hold this one against you as much as other lies you tell, which are just blatant lies. This one is just you not understanding. You're trying to compare motion within the atmosphere of the Earth. So you're like, oh my gosh, something going through the atmosphere so fast and it's crazy and we feel it, versus motion in frictionless space.
Your mainstream science says that because of the spin of the Earth, because of the centrifugal force, that the water bulges at the equator 14 miles high.
What?
This is what Neil deGrasse Tyson and science tells us about the spin of the Earth. The water at the equator, yes, it does. It bulges 14 miles high. It makes the Earth 29 miles wider at the equator.
No, that's the Earth, not the water. What are you talking about? Are you a moron? The diameter of the Earth is about 27 miles greater at the equator. That's the whole Earth. You're trying to pretend that it's all water, that there's just this big thing of water that's 14 miles. Is that what you're genuinely trying to say? Are you that stupid?
All horizontal lines line up with the horizontal horizon. Okay, they're all parallel.
Yeah, do they, or do they just look like that because your eyes suck and they can't distinguish between arc seconds of angle?
The top of the World Trade Towers, when they were up, are those floors larger than the lower floors? Because for them to be perpendicular, they would have to get larger.
Do you know how much curvature there is over such a small distance? It is so small that it is 100% negligible. What are you not understanding about that? The Earth is really big. That's
Has
the problem.
anybody measured curvature in large body of water at rest? You know, large body of water needs a container to hold it in place. And has anyone measured any curvature on resting water?
This is what's funniest to me, is that you're flat Earth, you debunk yourself with this level water thing, because the funny thing is that, so tides exist, right? And so on your little pizza world, tides are these little mounds of water that kind of travel around. I don't really know how else you're going to explain this. The water levels go up and down, right? And in different places, not everywhere at the same time, right?
Yeah,
so on your little pizza world, you get a little mound of water that's just kind of traveling around. So I'm sorry, but water isn't level on your pizza world either. Well, you say the South Pole isn't real. Even though there's people who go there and work there. And
people work at the South Pole.
Yeah.
Yeah, prove it. Okay. So
you can get a job there. Did you know that? Civilians can get jobs.
So the way it
works,
works,
you should apply for one. I think that'd be a cool video for you to do.
Which cartoon do you like the best showing Antarctica?
What do you mean, which cartoon?
Which cartoon? There's no pictures of Antarctica from space.
Okay, well, there are, so that's really dumb. But let me continue demolishing. Okay, stop. I'm going to continue demolishing the idiotic thing you just said. Why can't your Flat Earth app do it? Why can't you actually show the regions of day and night? Why can't you look at that and go, yeah, look at that. I see the light illuminating this part of the flat Earth, right? And I can see that we have 20 hours of sunlight in southern Argentina, and I can see that. You just have a little cartoon doing nonsense, and then all of your idiot people who buy that thing, they're not like, oh, that looks cool. And they don't actually look at what it does at all.
It shows pretty accurately the amount of day and night, but it can't
show
it. Daylight is the illumination of the sky. It's not the sun.
From the sun.
No, the sun is.
You're saying that daylight is not from the sun?
Absolutely.
You're just going, oh, I did a thing in my living room, so all of science is wrong.
There's people upside down relative to me.
This sounds like the perfect time for our second intermission. He is not a flat earther who doesn't understand what down means.
The only thing that matters is the fact that people don't realize the earth is flat. If it's a horrendous take, how do we drive boats and not go upside down? Answer me that, Einstein.
That is the difference between what you think down means and what down really is. It's not that hard. Let's continue with Professor Dave.
Your entire identity is based on the idea that all the scientists in the entire world are lying deceivers. So you're a condescending douchebag.
You say.
And me calling you stupid, which you are, does not hold a candle to what you are.
Why does it annoy you so much, the flat Earth?
I'm very passionate about public science literacy and science denial, and flat Earth is the bottom of the barrel. So I go after like anti-vaxxers and stuff like that, and that is a little more sophisticated, and you have to actually understand a little bit of biochemistry, a little bit of immunology, and things like that. Flat Earth is the only one. I just proved the Earth is a sphere multiple times in this exchange based on looking at things in the sky and thinking. That's how we figured out the Earth is a sphere several thousand years ago. It's like the first thing we figured out.
Dave,
so this is why it's so offensive, because it is a denial of literally all of science. Astronomy, all wrong. Geology, all wrong. Physics, all wrong. It's so unbelievably offensive to the entire human race. That's why you're a douchebag, and me calling you stupid is nowhere near the magnitude of douchebaggery that is your entire identity.
These were my highlights of the first half of this 2-hour debate. I'll leave it at this for now, otherwise this video will be way too long in the end. I will cover the second half as well, if the views and likes on this video are enough to motivate me to do so. So hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and share the video. This has been Mr. 42, out. Don't panic.